That is complete failure. You should not have high levels of copper. I guarantee you, you did an oil analysis test on this engine here, you're gonna see extreme high levels of copper. Hey folks, welcome back to their vlog. Ryan Wilson here from Predator Inc. And I've got Dee over here. Dee builds up a lot of our Duramax engines along with Flow. If you don't know, been in business for 23 years. We remanufacture Duramax diesel engines, 6.5 turbo diesel engines. We control all the process of remanufacturing these engines. One of the things I really want to touch on in a vlog, and I haven't done this up until now, but we've been in business for 23 years. We've seen kind of the tortures that some of these engines go through with not having regular oil changes. And it's one of those things that, like, I've definitely skipped oil changes. I don't know about you, Dee, but
Sure
I've skipped quite a few, yeah.
No, I've skipped a few in my time.
It's one of those things where it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. It's in the engine, it's underneath the hood, you don't really see it, and it's gonna cost you a lot of money to do an oil change. In this engine right here, you're talking probably $100 to $150 in just the proper oil, high quality oil filter, and then the hassle of doing it yourself. Or if you take it into a real good dealership, even like Chevy or GM dealership, they're probably gonna charge you like $200, $300 or more dollars. So it gets pricey, I get it. And on top of that too, you're out of a car. I mean, like, you take it in the dealership, it's just a hassle all around. And the truck's running fine, your car's running fine. Do you really need to do it? Yes, you do. Doing this for 23 years, we've seen a lot of really bad engines. We also seen a lot of really good engines that come through here. So what we want to do is show you, the viewer, the differences between an engine that has had regular services done and then one that hasn't. Now, we've already stripped this engine down. We know what's happened over here, and we'll get into that in a second. This engine we're stripping down right now for the remanufacturing process, and instantly it was kind of a candidate for this vlog because of the good condition that it came in. Just looking at the valve covers being off, you can kind of see how clean it is. The oil looks good. It's not gummed up. We haven't cracked this cylinder head off yet. Dee's gonna pull it off right now. We'll take a look in the cylinders, show you what it looks like with what we presume as a good engine. So you think this is a good engine though, right?
Yeah, internally, just from the outside, not actually taking everything out. You
Yeah.
can see there's no excessive wear or stain from old oil.
So show us what you're talking about here.
So if you get close here, just the overall general look of this, the inside of the engine compared to the other one. You can see where oil changes were done frequently and on time. You'll get this coating on it, and it's hard to come off unless you actually take apart the engine, which is what we do here, compared to when you take it to an oil change, you'll never see the inside of it.
So what about this? Obviously, looking over here, you're gonna see all this buildup here. What are we looking at with all of this stuff right here? I mean, this looks pretty bad, right?
Yes.
But it's not. This is kind of normal.
Yeah, this is normal on these vehicles just because of it's not the internal where the oil travels to. This is mainly where all the air induction goes into. So you'll get some of this buildup.
Overall, looks really good. So let's go ahead and take this head off here and see what it looks like internally. Looks really clean so far.
Yeah, we got a little bit of debris from the pulling it hard, but let's pull this gasket out so we get a better view.
Okay, so this engine looks really good, really clean. It doesn't have the oil stains that this engine has over here, right?
Yes, correct. You can see the difference in the casting of the iron. In here, you can still get that golden look where oil's been lubricating. And then if we go on to this other side, you see how dark and grimy and just old oil that never got serviced as often.
And once that oil starts to break down, after that recommended interval from the manufacturer, that's where it gets sticky and gummy, and like you start to burn off oil. In fact, you're showing me this the bearing over here where it looks like it was run low on oil. So this guy probably did what, I hate to say it, but what I've done in the past, where he just ran a ton of miles on it, and eventually you started getting low on oil, and then the oil light came on, and he may or may not topped it off with some extra oil, but ultimately it should have done a full oil change at that point. Actually, way before.
Correct. So yeah, let's go over here and check out the piston and the bearing so we can get a closer look. So over here we got a good example of what we've been talking about on oil changes. On this piston right here, you can see the discoloration, how the oil just kind of sticks onto the piston, and the discoloration darker here kind of penetrates the piston. On the other side, you'll have a good used piston.
These pistons here are roughly the same amount of miles. So there's a big difference. One is completely black, discolored, almost charred. The oil is still like this gummy mess. It's still on here, and it's been out of the engine for, I don't know what, a couple weeks now. And this one, on the other hand, is not. It's super clean. It doesn't have that discoloration on here from lack of oil on here. It's just far cry from this one over here. And again, what blows my mind is seeing firsthand, this is lack of oil changes. This is an engine with proper oil changes. Great shape, great condition, at roughly the same amount of miles. So that blows my mind away that like this is what happens on an engine that just hasn't been taken care of. And I've been guilty of potentially doing that to engines. So it's never going to happen again for me. Why don't you show us the bearings on here too?
Yeah, so this is a bearing here. It actually came from this same vehicle. And as you can see, lack of oil changes and obviously not topping it off if it ever went low. But you see the discoloration, that copper wear on it. And then Ryan's going to show you guys a good one.
Yeah, so here's a good one. And this is also a used bearing out of the same engine that this guy came out of. And actually it just came off of here. You can see there's virtually, it looks like no wear at all on this guy versus this thing. I mean, look at the two. One of them is just completely failing. Okay, so here we have a perfect scenario where we have an engine that did not have regular maintenance and an engine that did. And again, you can see the difference. And one of the things that Dee mentioned was that copper that's showing. I don't know if you can see that there, but that copper is bad. You don't want to see that. This is what you want to see. Now, a really good way to see that, if you are buying a vehicle of higher value, you want to make sure the engine's in good shape, or situation where the engine swap is going to be extremely expensive. In this case, you're talking probably, just a guess, $10,000, $15,000 if you went through a dealership to replace that engine. That's where you can get into an oil analysis. Now, an oil analysis, what it's going to do is they're going to take a look at the engine oil, and typically they need to know exactly how many miles are on an engine oil change when they take in the oil sample. So if it's a fresh oil change, you're not going to see anything, but you get a couple thousand miles on it, it's going to show everything. In this case, this is going to show extreme high levels of copper, because the copper is just literally coming off of the bearings. Where this one is going to show normal wear and tear. It's going to show a little copper, a little iron, some other components in there, which is completely normal and expected, especially for an engine that has 150,000 miles. But at 150,000 miles over here, and I'm only guessing how many miles are on here, but they're roughly the same amount, you should not have copper in your engine oil at this level. And that's going to show catastrophic engine failure and a very expensive repair bill coming up. So good idea to do that. Is it necessary? No, not really. But I think more so than that, what is necessary is get your oil changes done on time, on a regular basis. A lot of the new manufacturers, I know Dee and I just changed the oil on my wife's Sprinter. I think it's like 9,500, 10,000 miles. That's what Mercedes recommends. And it's a synthetic blend. It's very expensive engine oil. I just kind of personally feel that's a little bit too much. And I think in the future, I'm going to probably knock it down to like 5,000 miles, because it's not going to hurt to change it early. That's for sure. If you go over here like this guy did, you can have failure. So I'm going to err on the side of caution, get it done, or get it changed on a regular basis, and make sure that engine's running in perfect shape. And that's something else too, because at some point you're probably going to sell your vehicle. Keep all those records of your oil changes. Even if you do it yourself, throw some receipts into a folder, because that's going to carry a lot of weight with a vehicle. When you do go to sell it, you can show that customer, that person who's buying it, hey, all the engine oil has been replaced, on a consistent basis. The intervals were done correctly, and here's all the proof. And that's going to potentially save that future buyer a $15,000 engine bill. So keep those records. I want to thank Dee for coming out here and helping out on the vlog. This is one of Dee's first vlogs. And actually he just admitted that he needs to do an oil change. So I need to get him back home so he can do his oil change or get his car in here so he can get it dialed in. But thanks a lot. I appreciate all the help. Shoot us a call, email, comment down below. If you have any questions, we'll do our best to answer right away. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. See you guys soon.